Hello, everyone. How is everyone on today? I wanted to talk with you about the new study that was done between Dove and LinkedIn because this study finds that Black women hair 2.5 times more likely to be seen as unprofessional. Now, last year, Massachusetts became the 18th state to adopt the Crown Act. The Crown Act is an imperative bill that shields individuals from discrimination over natural and protective hairstyles in the workplace and other institutions. Now, most of you know that the Crown Act, was has been implemented across uh, a lot of the schools. Now, in Michigan, the Michigan lawmakers are fighting for the Crown Act. That was to be implemented on February 21st when Senator Sarah Anthony of Lansing and several other representatives introduced the Crown Act to officials in the Michigan the Michigan Senate to safeguard residents with natural and quality hair from discrimination. Um, and so they wanted that implemented across the Wolverines state schools. And then also, Anthony says she was upset by the horror stories she had heard from residents detailing their experiences with hair discrimination. Several women says they were either denied a job or refused an opportunity because they would not chemically straighten their hair. One Black male told her a troubling story how he was denied hospital care due to his long locks because healthcare staff didn't want to touch his hair. Now, that is definitely discrimination, and he definitely needs to look into that more about the discrimination of being denied healthcare services. And then, because that's really, really traumatic. That is problematic, not just traumatic for the patient, but problematic. So this is a systemic problem, and it is problematic that they didn't want to touch his hair, so they denied him hospital care. Now, I hope he didn't go through the emergency room because then they would have violated the EMTALA laws, which is the Emergency Medical Treatment Active Labor Act, which is a violation if he went through the emergency room, even to have surgery. But to deny him hospital care, that's really a severity of this situation, this mindset, this racial bias and discrimination of natural hair. And then the fact is how because they feel like you need to chemically process your hair. But if you are of aware of this, is that there is lawsuits out here because women that have used perms in their hair have been diagnosed with some form of cancer, uh, and so in their female organs, and so therefore they are actually involved in a lawsuit, and you've seen it being promoted because of that. And so a lot of Black women are getting away from wearing perms in their hair or chemicals that can harm us as people. And so therefore we do see protective hairstyles, and we see the natural hairstyles. So the Crown Act, an imperative bill, like I said, that shields individuals from discrimination over natural and protective hairstyles in the workplace and other institutions. But as lawmakers work tirelessly for the bill to be passed nationwide, the fight to end race-based hair discrimination continues. And we see that today, that people are still being discriminated against. Even little children are being sent home, or they can't even go to school. And you know that it's a right for you to have a public education. Taxpayers' dollars go into the public school system, so your children have a right to have a public education. Now, Dove and LinkedIn, they did a new study co-commissioned, and it told us that Black women's hair was 2.5 times more likely to be perceived as unprofessional. So here we are right here where they did the study, and it's showing right here, um, you know, and let me go over it with you. The research that they've done, and they have a hashtag, Black Hair is Professional campaign. Now, more than 20% of Black American women aged between 25 to 34 have been sent home from work because of their hair. Now, can you imagine being sent home without pay are sent home where you have to take public transportation, or you was just barely getting to work on, not having a lot of gas, or you planned your gas for the week and it's only to go to work and back to work. You have so much mileage that you have paid for gas and they're sending you home. So that's extra gas, or, or transportation fees that you have to come up with in order to go back to work, if they say you're allowed to come back to work after taking care of your hair. And you might even lose hours of pay because they've sent you home, and you may have to try to do something with your hair before returning back to work. And so that's really another form of controlling us as Black people when it comes to our hair. It's like a power thing with them, of trying to tell us what to do with our hair, that you need to perm it and things like that. So Dove is partnering with business networking platform LinkedIn, which most of you know LinkedIn is where you can put your credentials on there, a picture of yourself, basically your resume and things like that, and employers can search for you, or of what they're looking for, qualifications or criteria. And so you can put your open up an account, create an account on LinkedIn. Now, the move forms part of Dove's commitment to help pass the Crown Act in the United States to end race-based hair discrimination. The Unilever owner brand said that while progress has been made with the passage of the Crown Act in some states across the country, it remains a systemic problem. Now, a new Crown 2023 workplace research study co-commissioned by Dove and LinkedIn found Black women's hair was 2.5 times more likely to perceived as unprofessional. Now, the report was also revealed that 66% of Black women in the U.S. changed their hair for a job interview, with 41% changing their hair from curly to straight. Now, that's pretty high, right? And so the majority of Black women surveyed, 54% felt they had to wear their hair straight to a job interview to be successful. That's a high number, because that says that the mindset in order to get a job, to feel pressured to change your hair to fit in just to even get an opportunity to be a potential candidate, even for a job interview. Now, beyond the interview stage, Black women with curly or textured hair were 2 times more likely to experience microaggressions in the workplace than those with straighter hair. And I'm going to stop right there for just a moment, because I've even had, when I wore my natural hair, I was asked, can I touch your hair? Let me feel it, and ask all types of inappropriate questions. And then they try to put it off as if they're just uneducated or dumb. And I'm going to use the word dumb when it comes to wearing your natural hair as a Black woman in the workplace. And then always making comments, well, you always changing your hair. One day is this way, one day is that way, and your hair was long and now it's short. Oh, you cut your hair. Just all types of unnecessary comments. And then the microaggression comments in the workplace. So I've experienced it, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of other women out here that have worn natural styles have experienced it. Or if you wore your natural hair and then you went to a protective hairstyle, then you have to deal with that as well. And I believe that if you're professional, your hair is not outrageous, but it's beautiful, it's professional, it's clean. You don't, you're not having oil just dripping from it and things like that, products. Then people just really need to leave folks' hair alone. And there's a lot of companies out here that have a policy anyway about being, your hair has to be neat and clean. And for a man, they have to be clean shaven, things like that. So at the end of the day, I believe that, these microaggressions need to go away. And we have to educate people. We can't sit back and not share this information. We need to educate people about this. And so I'm glad that Dove and LinkedIn, have done the Crown 2023 workplace research study, because it's so important to get this information out there and to educate employers and hiring managers that are in positions to hire and deny opportunity. And so more than 20% of black women ages between 25 to 34 had been sent home from work because of their hair. Now, I remember one young lady being in management. She wore her hair in a protective hairstyle. She could do her own hair, and it was beautiful in braids. And she braided probably maybe 3 braids in her hair at the top, and they were red. And you couldn't even see them unless you got extremely close up and was standing up over her or tall enough to see the 3 red braids in her hair. And I remember my manager actually made her take the braids out of her hair. And I was like, excuse me? And I said, why? You can't even see that. And I, talked with her in the office and said, you can't even see that. So who saw that? Why is it a big deal? Because you can't even see the red. It was like she had bright black, her hair was all braided black, but there was just like three little braids up there, really cute, and you couldn't even tell it. And a lot of her coworkers even said that they liked it. But again, there we go with the microaggressions and even the racial, bias because of that. And again, it wasn't an outrageous hairstyle, and you couldn't even hardly tell. And I'm just being honest about it, about this. And it was just really a problematic situation. And so anyway, the pressure is felt most strongly by young black professionals in the U.S. 44% of black women under 34 said they felt pressured to have a headshot with straight hair. Now, getting back to this employee, she wanted to send this young woman home, just like where it's talking about, and she was between those ages of 25 and 34 at the time this happened, and she wanted to send her home. And I was like, why? Just let her finish out the shift, and then tomorrow, she'll come back and the 3 braids will be removed and she can rebraid the 3 braids to just black hair. But it was just really ridiculous, that this is what this employee was subjected to. And I did stand up for her because I felt like you can't even see it. And I even said, what red braids? Because I hadn't even seen it. And I was her supervisor at the time because you couldn't tell it. Because she had it covered up pretty good, but I guess it was peeping through. But just foolishness of this manager. But that manager was a racist. She was racist anyway. She did a lot of things that she did, that came about. So anyway, meanwhile, although 25% of black women of all ages believe they have been denied a job interview because of their hair, this was more pronounced among under 34s, where 1 in 3 felt they'd been overlooked because of their hair, right? And far too long, black women and men have been subject to unfair treatment, outright discrimination, and a myriad of inequities for simply wearing our natural hair texture and hairstyles that are inherent to our cultural identity, said Essie Eggleston-Bracey, President and CEO of Unilever Personal Care in North America. Now, this includes being denied employment, being sent home from work, being overlooked for promotions, and a range of microaggressions. This may be hard to believe, but it is real, clearly unwarranted, and unacceptable. And I'll stop right there for a moment. It is unacceptable, and I'll share with you, I was honored, but I had an opportunity to have one of my videos that I did. It's on the power lifter, a 10-second audio, not a picture, but the audio in the Crown documentary that aired on CBS Sports Network on February 19th, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I do have, if you want to view it, it's a very good documentary, very, very good. It's touching, but it's very powerful. And you can reach out to me through my email and I will share it with you. And the other thing is when I speak on this, I'm speaking of the power lifter where the judge ordered her. This was a court order for her to take her beads out of her hair. And that video is still up on my channel, in order for her to compete. Now, she was weightlifting. And I did get a few comments on that video saying that we always want to make things about race and that's inappropriate. But who are you to say what's inappropriate if she's not wrestling. She's not harming anyone by standing there lifting weights. She's a power lifter. So she wasn't wrestling or anything. And so she had to have all these hands in her hair in order for her to compete, without just throwing the competition, giving it up, walking away in order to compete. And can you imagine all of these people in your head? That's humiliation. You're nervous, you're scared, and also it can be traumatizing as well when that happens. And then there was another young man had his locks cut. He was ordered by the referee, I believe it was head referee, that told him that he could not compete with his locks. Now, he had wore a cap to cover up his locks, and then the headgear, the appropriate headgear, and they made him strip all of that off, cut his locks. Now, this young woman came up with some big scissors and cut his locks. Now, can you imagine a stranger cutting your hair, and you didn't invite them to cut your hair, you didn't give them permission to do it, but someone else gave them permission, authority to come and cut your locks off your hair, your beautiful hair, and then you still got to focus on competing and trying to win the match. And he was a wrestler. Although he did win the match, but guess what? He was traumatized by that. And he said it was so difficult. And you can tell in the Crown documentary how he didn't even want to when they raise your hand, your arm to show you won. He didn't even want to do that. You could tell he was very hurt. And he said he could barely carry his headgear. And he said, I think he just fell on the mat after he got out of there and cried because of what happened to him. It was very traumatizing. And, when you think of the story of Samson, and he had beautiful locks, and he was the men brought into I think it was Delilah, brought into the bedroom and hid in the closet so they can cut his locks off. Jealousy. And they knew that the power was in his hair. And they eventually did, cut his locks, and he was defeated, and they took him into captivity. And then when he came back out, he was much stronger, and his hair had grown back and even more thicker and beautiful and long. But to make this, to say the least, that people want to take away your power, and they feel that your hair has power. They want to take away your power, and and by doing that, they want to have control over you. So they come up with things that, to humiliate you, to demean you, and to prevent you from being able to compete in in competitions, and even to get an education. Because if you sending children home or people home, you're interrupting their learning process. And then for a child, that's very disruptive and traumatic, because now it's stuck in their mind. I'm not accepted, and all I can think about when I go back to school, I can't focus on learning and making the honor roll and learning math and reading and being able to be a good speller and a good writer, because I'm traumatized, and all I'm thinking about is them harassing me about the experience that I had when they told me I wasn't welcome in school with my natural hair. And so we have got to speak out about these things and continue to share information when this comes about. So if I didn't say this, this may be hard to believe, but it is real, clearly unwarranted, and unacceptable. Now, Eggleton Bracey added, the goal of the partnership between Dove and LinkedIn is to help put an end to race-based hair discrimination in the workplace. We intend to shine a light on this issue and call upon employers, hiring managers, and professionals to adopt equitable and inclusive practices that create a respectful and open world for natural hair. Now, Dove and LinkedIn have pledged to provide free access to 10 LinkedIn learning courses focused on creating a more equitable and inclusive work environment. The goal, said the companies, is to educate 1 million hiring managers and workplace professionals by the end of 2023. Now, I hope that this is not only for people, hiring managers and workplace professionals, because you know what? I would like to take these courses, they have free access to them and learn, so I can share this information with other people and empower ourselves, because we need to continually be empowered, right? And so they also aim to spotlight the stories and voices of Black female professionals across LinkedIn and social media platforms using the hashtag Black Hair is Professional to help redefine what society deems professional at work. Now, there's another part to this at the end, because I've shared a lot of the information with you. Even far too long, Black women and men have been subject to unfair treatment, outright discrimination, but down here, in March 2022, New Jersey Representative Bonnie Waston Coleman helped the House pass the historic Crown Act bill to the Senate for further consideration. The measure, which is also referred to as H.R. 2116, was passed with a sweeping 235 to 189 vote. So we're still looking at, even though it passed, 189 votes. People that voted still have a problem with natural hair, still have a poor mindset, when they voted against it. And you have to ask the question, why are you voting against it? And that would be a question that I would ask the people that cast their vote. Can you tell me why you voted against it? Why? And ask that question, because some of them, they may believe they have a valid reason. Some may not know any better and may not just be educated enough to know better. So the question is, why? Why would 189 people vote against the HR 2116? Why? The Crown Act bill. Why? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I'll put this information in here for you if you want to go and read up this article for yourself. I'm pretty detailed in, when I do my videos, but however, if you want to go and look at this, the study and things like that, what this study is saying, you might have to widen it when you look at the video. But if you want to do that, but again, I will be putting that information there. Hashtag Black Hair is Professional. I will definitely be putting that in here for you. So with that being said, please don't forget to share this video, right? And subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. Thank you all to my subscribers and new subscribers. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, which I would like you to like the video so that it gets in the algorithm. And then please leave your respectful comments below. If you are someone that's transitioning to natural hair, or you want to, you've been dealing with microaggressions or racial bias or discrimination about your natural hair, I would like to hear from you because it is important. And maybe we can reach out to Dove and LinkedIn, since they did the survey, the research, and talk to them about it and say, yes, this is my experience. So with that being said, thank you all. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, OitsSharine Jewelry. Check that out. I have some nice pieces that I've uploaded. And then stick with the 6 weeks, any mode or form of exercise 3 times a week, 30 minutes a day, and 10-minute increments. And one other thing I want to add is that there are some beautiful, beautiful hairstyles out here. Our Black beauticians are doing it big when it comes to creativity. They're also learning more about how to take care of hair. They're creating their own products. They just had an event, in San Bernardino this past weekend, and they were showcasing their black hair natural hair products that can grow your hair back, that can thicken your hair if you've had an illness, a sickness. COVID also takes your hair out if you've experienced that. And there's natural products out there, so it's whatever product that works for you. And then there are channels that show how to take care of your hair, to use less heat on your hair when it comes to blow drying and even flat ironing and pressing it. and having good products to take care of your hair, how to, don't strip the natural oils of your hair, how often to wash your hair, and things like that. And so that's all good. And so we thank the cosmetologist. I have a good family member that she does hair, and we talked about this yesterday, and she was really happy that I was talking about it and that I had shared all of this information with her. So I will be sharing this with her as well. And so with that being said, again, thank you all for tuning in. God bless you all on today, and I will be in touch with you soon.